Well, 20 years on and the arms deal saga continues. Tomorrow, the North Gauteng High Court will hear an application brought by NGOs Corruption Watch and Right to Know to review and set aside the findings of the Seriti Inquiry. The organizations arguing that the Commission misled the public and ignored evidence of corruption. So for more on this, I'm joined by the Head of Legal and Investigation at Corruption Watch, Deborah Mutemwa-Tumbo. Deborah, thanks a lot for joining us on Newsnight this evening. Why do you say we need to go back to court and actually recommission this commission that actually found no wrongdoing on anybody's behalf?
Well, thank you for having me. Firstly, our challenge is really based on the fact that we do not believe that the findings of the Seriti Commission were correct. The findings were that there was absolutely nothing wrong with the arms deal in its economic impact, and also that the allegations of corruption were implausible. We do not believe that that is true. As a matter of fact, there's enough information in the public domain to say that there was some form of impropriety going on. During the commission, there were a lot of issues. You know, some of the key witnesses or critic witnesses actually, in protest, stepped away because they believed that the commission had an ulterior motive and wasn't necessarily interested in coming to the truth. And that's essentially what commissions of inquiry should do. They should root out the truth, and they have extensive powers to do so. And we don't believe that the powers of that commission were used to root out the truth in this.
Well, at the time, I think it was about 2011, and President Jacob Zuma was the one that actually reinstated or stated the Commission of Inquiry in itself, and even appointed the judge, therefore, to oversee such a commission. And obviously, Seriti himself then later on fell ill. There were some issues that dogged the entire commission. I think one top attorney was also killed during that entire period. So you're saying that as a result of that perhaps we're looking at reinstating. What are you hoping to find?
So we aren't asking the court to reinstate the commission or that another commission of inquiry should be called. That's the prerogative of the president. We are saying that there are issues that were not properly investigated and that more needs to be done in order to understand what happened in that arms deal and whether, you know, there was corruption. And we are of the view that there was corruption. So our hope is that the court will set aside the finding that there was absolutely everything was above board, essentially, in the arms deal. And what we hope to achieve with that is that people who are implicated or accused persons, you know, that have been alleged to be involved in the corruption in the arms deal won't be able to use the findings of the commission to somewhat exonerate themselves or, you know, say that there's no need for further investigation because this commission process ran its course and came to these particular findings.
Well, the accused within the commission itself, the ones who were exonerated, are going to come out and say, but hold on, an entire commission found us not guilty. You're saying we are countering that. There is evidence to suggest that there was some form of impropriety and there was some form of corruption within the acquisition of these arms for the country.
Yes.
However, my then question is, what evidence do you have in your possession to substantiate that fact? Because there's what the commission gave, and that is everybody's above board. You're saying, nope, that's not true. What do you have to counter that?
So it's not necessarily evidence in our possession. There's a lot of evidence in the public domain. What we are now hearing in the public domain is, you know, the link between our former president and the French arms company Thales, you know, those clandestine payments and the expensive stays, you know, those all point to some sort of impropriety that might have occurred during the time of the Arms Deal Commission. Over and above that, there are external authorities or authorities in other countries, such as the UK and Germany, that are looking into these allegations of corruption. And as a matter of fact, during the course of the commission, these authorities or these security agencies from other countries actually offered to share information with the Seriti Commission. And what we have found from reviewing the record is that the Commission actually didn't, you know, look at that evidence. It didn't consider that evidence. Moreover, you know, this commission was called after years of sustained public outcry around, you know, the allegations of corruption in this deal. It wasn't out of any form of benevolence. There was a lot of public pressure to call this commission because there's a lot of evidence in the public domain that actually something is not right here. And as a matter of fact, our own security agencies, or rather our own investigative bodies, the former Scorpions, now disbanded, and the Hawks, had over 3 million documents in their possession. They collected those in the course of investigating, you know, the allegations of corruption. So our qualm isn't to say that, you know, we have new evidence. We're saying that the evidence has always been there.
You just want this evidence to be utilized more effectively.
Precisely. It should be utilized, and as a matter of principle, the findings that there was nothing wrong in the commission or that there was no evidence put before the commissioners to, justify criminal convictions or further investigation, those findings were completely wrong. Let's start from a clean slate and let's have our criminal justice system take its course.
Okay, so you do not necessarily want a commission, but you want an actual proper investigation into those individuals who may have been implicated in, the arms deal in itself.
Yes.
Some may point it out, and allow me to play devil's advocate for a little bit, that you're on a witch hunt because you are trying to open a book that's already been closed and shelved. Would you say that you're on a witch hunt?
Well, the overwhelming view is that commissions of inquiry haven't necessarily been used in the public interest in recent years. As a matter of fact, they've been used as tools of political power and, just used to pacify the public and justify impunity when it comes to acts of corruption. And we're saying that commissions of inquiry are extremely powerful tools. They can be used in such an incredible way to bring about the truth, to bring to light all of these lies that we can't make heads or tails of it in the public domain. They can find the facts, and then it's up to the executive to do something about that. We aren't hunting anybody. I think we are doing it in the public interest. We are a non-governmental organization, and we really care about the impact of, allegations of corruption. Let's talk about the numbers. So in 1999, when this deal was announced, it was estimated that it wouldn't cost more than 30 billion rand. However, by the time of its conclusion or its finalization, it cost the South African taxpayer 69 billion rands. That's about 2 million RDP homes. That's about over 100,000 jobs that could have been created over a decade. And we feel that the South African people deserve an answer.
Well, we're hopefully going to be hearing from, the NGO tomorrow as you make that application in court. I think it's tomorrow as well as Wednesday. And let's see what the public has to say regarding that matter. Deborah, we're going to leave our conversation there. But thanks a lot for joining us on Newsnight.